Good afternoon. Welcome, esteemed attendees, and thank you for sparing your valuable time for joining us today. A panel discussion and a webinar on collaborative robots in manufacturing, initiated by Engineering Review and powered by Universal Robot. Let me introduce the distinguished panelists today for this particular session. Mr. B.P. Poddar, Senior Vice President, FEMCO India. Mr. Saket Hardikar, Head of Business Development, Automation and Robotics, AIUT. Mr. Karandeep Singh, Senior Technical Specialist for Universal Robots. And Mr. Suhas Belapurkar, the Director of Sanjay Tools, who will be moderating this session. And myself, Shekhar Dongre, CEO of Engineering Review, Divya Media Publications Private Limited. So I'm handing over to Suhas. Suhas, take up this particular session.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Shekhar. Yeah, good afternoon, Mr. Poddar, Mr. Karandeep Singh, Mr. Saket Hardikar. We will have a panel discussions on this cohorts, as you are all aware. Everybody, we are aware that globally all manufacturing activities, they are going for more and more automation. For basically, there are issues related to labor, issues related to how to increase the productivity, improvement of this product quality. So there are different issues, and collaborative robots will definitely plays an important role in this whole manufacturing activity. So how this adds value in the entire manufacturing process. So in this panel discussions, we are going to try to get the answers for this. So first I will ask Mr. Poddar that what are the currently challenges you could observe during this manufacturing on the particularly on the shop floor, and what are the pain areas for the machine tool per se. So what do you think, Mr. Poddar, on this?
Good afternoon, everybody. I thank you, Engineering Review Magazine and Divya Media, for giving me an opportunity to be one of the panelists. This is a very apt question. I'll try to answer this question in a very brief way. Today's manufacturing technology itself is a sophisticated combination of software and advanced mechanical engineering. First, we must accept this fact. Both things are so much advanced, so they are getting married to each other, and we have to respect their areas, and we have to see in a very minute level how these both technologies are combining together. So how one can take the advantage of these new technologies and to deliver the improved efficiency in a manufacturing environment is the future key of the manufacturing. Okay.
Yeah.
The machine tools and manufacturing equipments operate in a very high demand environments. Today, the demands are changing, rapidly changing. The need solutions meeting increased speeds, precisions, high flexibility, tolerances are becoming narrower and narrower. Customers' demands are increasing, product life cycles are going down. Under these circumstances, we have to really take the advantages of the various technologies, merge all these technologies together and arrive on the solutions. As the technologies are advancing ahead, safety at industrial environment is also becoming of very prime concern. How to protect well-beings of our human capital and avoid the very costly breakdowns in a manufacturing environment. That is also a big concern. Now, we are seeing a lot of problems are coming. Okay, so sustainable solutions, we have to find the sustainable solutions at every step. Advanced automation, meeting stringent standards are some of the challenges faced by the manufacturers. I will just, give you the glance of what are the challenges being faced in today's manufacturing environment. One, as I said, the product life cycles are really becoming very short. Some of the cases we might have heard or we might have seen that product batch size is as small as one number. So we have to gear up for the very chaotic production methods we have to adopt. And how do we are going to adopt these chaotic production methods? So obviously machine tool plays a very important role into this. So machine tool is one of the equipments which has very impact in this manufacturing technologies. So complexities are increasing. Today, there are various complexities on data side, on software side, on mechanics side. As I said, tolerances are narrowing down. Earlier, people were talking about jig boring machines. Today, nobody talks about jig boring machines because technology has reached to the peak that now present days machining centers, they're capable of giving the jig boring accuracies. Competition is heating up. It's a global. Earlier, it was a very local competition. Now there's a global competition. There are no boundaries. How do we minimize expensive breakdowns? We never realize the breakdowns, how much they are expensive, how much they are costlier. Unplanned breakdowns, they are really going through the roofs. And you will never understand what kind of the money industries are going to lose just because of unplanned downtimes. How to keep the equipments up? Lack of expertise. Today, there is a workforce shortage is there. If we try to find it out the right people, we are not able to find the right people. On one side, there is unemployability issues. On other side, finding the right people. So we are in a big dilemma. So how do we get the trained people? That is also one of the challenges. The information and IT. Sorry.
Yes, correct. So
information and IT technology, they are posing their own challenges. In the cyber world, how we are going to protect our own data? What is the security, cyber security? That's also another challenge. Sometimes, ill-fitted equipments or wrong machine tool partners in the manufacturing environment, they are also becoming the problematic areas. So while selecting the right manufacturing equipments, one needs to really pay attention. I have seen in my experience many times, various customers, they compare the machine on the Excel sheet. But that's not, in my view, this is not the right way of selecting the right equipment or right machine tools for the manufacturing. So these are the various challenges.
Yeah. So, Mr. Poddar, what you say is that there are technology is changing very fast.
Yes.
And so, taking this particular technology change in mind, I would like to ask Mr. Karandeep that what are the changes, basically trends you are seeing in a particular robots area, and what are the basically changes is happening at the manufacturing across the cross section of the industry or different segments, you can say. So can you just throw some light on this? Yeah.
Yeah. First of all, thank you for having me on the panelist on this webinar. As Mr. Poddar said, that there are customer demands are changing day by day, and we're also seeing that there is high mix, low volume manufacturing going on. So meaning today you are manufacturing one product, tomorrow the customer and consumer demand change. You have to change your line. But if you work with if you work according to with the mass production, then you cannot match the consumer request. So you have to change as per the consumer. So where I feel that cobots or the new way of technology trend will help. The new way of manufacturing industry has to change how they are manufacturing the parts, because consumer demands are changing day by day. This is what my viewpoint on this.
Yeah. So basically, how universal robots is basically coming into this? Can you just explain us on this in this area?
Yeah. So universal robots plays a very significant role in meeting the demands for the manufacturers. Okay. We have end customers who are using collaborative robots, and before they were doing kind of they're unable to tend the consumer demands because there was labor issues. But now with using cobots, they can use the same system at different machines, at different layouts. They just change the gripper on the robot, and they are able to meet the demands of the end customers. Okay. And also in the manufacturing side, how universal robots is fulfilling the demands. So we are trying to address the technology demand by spreading the awareness that deploying cobots allows people to be upskilled for more interesting works and tasks. Now, loading a metal piece inside a CNC is not a good job, because it just operator is doing picking a product, he's placing inside the machine, and then once the machine process is done, he's bringing him out. Okay, there is no upskilling is happening on the labor front, and if they get more money outside, maybe the next manufacturing facility they will just move. Okay, first of all, it's difficult to get the people. If you get a good people, then it's difficult to retain that people. Okay, a person who is only loading a job, he can go to a mall and tend to some other shop which will give him $1,000 extra. Okay, so Universal Robots is upskilling their the work, which is making them more interesting to do. And we would like to shatter this misconceptions by continuing to evangelize the concept of human robot collaboration. So meaning we are not here to remove the human labor, but we are here to assist them with a third arm, so that they can think of maybe they can uh, clearly see the whole line, and uh, on or maybe they can supervise the whole line rather than just by loading a part onto the machines.
Yeah. So I think now Saket is with us. So Saket, how you perceive the future of these cobots in the manufacturing industry? Can you hear me, Mr. Saket? I think Mr. Saket is unable to connect. So I think Karandeep, can you
Yes, sir.
please address this? Yeah, this how to perceive the future of this, cobot in the manufacturing industry. You have given a lot in your other question, but anything you want to add more in this?
Okay, so how cobots are helping in the manufacturing, as I told before, that first of all, they can do all the repetitive tasks, what we
Yeah.
call is as the dumb, dangerous, and dirty. Okay,
Yes.
and now with the COVID, we can add another D, which is distancing. So you can maintain the social distance. Okay,
Yeah.
in the COVID era, and you can control the spread of the virus. Meaning on an assembly line where the people are working very closely,
Yes.
you can have one cobot in between and two people on the sides without the fence, and you can still manage and you can still produce a great output by using a collaborative robot in the manufacturing. So we have examples where people are using on assembly lines, where people are using in the end of line packaging application, where there are
Yeah.
many people are working on the line creation of boxes and then putting the product inside the box and then palletizing. So their cobots will help on a better front.
Yeah. So whatever the challenges we are facing post COVID era, so
Yes.
basically, like as you said, the social distancing or staggered shifts, or
Mhm.
maybe labor shortage, or like any hygiene measures particularly. So I think this is going to help definitely a cobot a lot in this area.
Definitely, definitely.
Yeah. So can you will you please try to explain us about the what are the key features of universal cobots and what are their application areas? If you have some presentation or something, can you
Yeah,
just
yeah,
share with us?
sure, sure. So I'll just share my screen so
Yeah.
that all the attendees can see what are UR cobots and how they can be useful in the manufacturing facilities.
Yeah.
Just a second.
Yeah. In the meantime, I will request all attendees that okay, your all questions will be answered at the end of the session. So what you can post your questions in the chat box. So we will try to answer this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope you can see my screen, everyone. All
Yes.
the
Yeah.
panelists. Yeah, okay, thank you. Thank you for the confirmation. So today presentation will be on the benefits of cobots, which is kind of an advanced robot, which is empowering the manufacturing in the COVID-19 era. This is the today's topic for the webinar. And first I'll talk about little about the company, where about Universal Robots. All the blue area, what you are seeing right now, it's all taken care by UR. Okay, as you can see on the screen, we have our headquarters in Denmark, in Copenhagen, and our sales offices available all over the globe. We have 29 offices available with 740 employees all over the globe, and till date we have sold around 46,000 collaborative robots, which is the highest number if you compare all other competitors what we have, who are right now just coming in the market with collaborative robots, because we started in around 2010, and we know the market, what a multinational needs from a collaborative robot, what a small and medium scale enterprises need, how we can help them. And we hold around 50 to 60% market share. Our business model is through our channel partners. So as you can see, our employee strength is very small. So we do by using our distributors or our system integrators, which are available in 20 different countries. And sometimes they only give a box sale, meaning if you're doing any R&D project, so distributor will only sell you the box, which will contain the robot arm or the control box and the control box. Otherwise, if you need a whole complete solution, then they can help you with a complete solution on the collaborative robot. This is one study done by Frost and Sullivan, which talks about 50 disruptive technologies and innovations you need to know about. And collaborative robots is one advanced manufacturing and automation area which people can use in the manufacturing facilities to take care of the labor force, to take care of dumb, dangerous, and dirty jobs. This one wheel is from it's taken care by the Industry 4.0 lever, which is designed by McKinsey and Company. And if you here you can see that in the labor perspective, human robot collaboration plays a very significant role. So meaning if you combine human and robot together, then you can reduce 85% reduction time. This is a proven study. If you make only humans working on one line and you put only robots working on the second line, your productivity or your idle time will not increase. But when you mix both together, then there will be 85% increase in the idle time, because operator has to match the speed of the collaborative robot, the operation, so that it can produce more output. So this is a proven study which is taken care by all European MNCs, and they are following the same concept of human and robot collaboration together. In terms of the robot density across the globe, this is very important slide, because you can see all the automated countries, and Singapore is on the number one. This is by the IFR 2019 report, where Singapore stands 918 robots per 10,000 workers. And South Korea was on number one in 2018, but now Singapore is taking that lead. And South Korea is 855, Japan with 364, and Germany with 346. But if you compare with the India manufacturing scenario, then it's only 4 robots per 10,000 workers. So we are way behind in the implementation of rather industrial robot or a collaborative robot. But now we can see that governments are giving initiative to AI, governments are giving initiative to robotics, and maybe in coming years we can see that this number will increase significantly, and people can make use, or manufacturing facilities can make use of more and more robots and cobots together to meeting the demands of the manufacturing. There are 2 slides which are very important in here. If you see industrial robots, it works inside the cages. If you want to change something inside the cell, you have to kind of open the door, then go inside, you have to stop the line, which will ultimately reduce the production. It will halt the production, and at the end of the day, you will not able to match or you're not able to meet the customer demands. But if you compare 2 different technologies, then on the left, you can see a collaborative robot mounted on a trolley, which is kind of flexible redeployment. So you can use one cobot for different applications on the same shop floor, just by changing the end effector on the robot. It can work side by side with human beings. Anyone can program, so you don't need a high-level programmer. If your labor force knows how to operate a mobile phone, they can simply use our cobots for programming, and they can make use of it. The setup is fast. They can set up the system in 15 to 20 minutes. And if everything is ready, like PLC, machine, gripper, everything is ready, then maybe within 1 day, max 2 days time, they can do one application, a simple pick and place application. On the right, if you see, it's fixed installation. It's need a high fencing over here. One sec. Yeah, it needs a high safety fence. You need a high programming guy to program the system. Typical industrial robot, it's difficult to set up. And then we have numerous additional costs, which will come in the next slide. If you compare the two different technologies in terms of the commercial discussion, then you only see the tip of the iceberg. So on the left, we have industrial robot, typical industrial robot, which takes about 50% more space requirement. With end of arm tooling, there is some cost to it. And then we have safety scanners, 3-phase power, light curtains. Preventive maintenance is another huge cost that we have to, end customer has to spend on greasing, on battery replacements and all. But on the right hand side is just a collaborative arm, which works on a single phase supply on which you charge your mobile phone. You can run Cobot with the same supply. And the only cost is the end of arm tooling. That's it. You don't need light curtains. You don't need safety guarding. Software upgrades are free from our website. So you can download the software and you can update your system. You can get new features. There is no preventive maintenance on the robot because you don't have to do the greasing. You don't have to do the battery replacement. So then the ROI cost will come down. Only thing what we sell is the extended warranty for maximum 4 years. So end customers can buy extended warranty for 4 years in one shot. Like if they buy a robot today, they can buy a 4-year warranty, or they can buy every year before the expiry of the current warranty terms. So this is our offering in terms of the commercial point of view. Now, what are the types of human-robot collaboration? This is again done by IFR. And if you see in a typical industrial robot, then it's kind of fenced. A human is always outside and a robot is always inside. You cannot interact with the system. But if you see the most collaborative applications are like there is no fences, but still there is no space sharing between a robot and the human being. Sometimes what we call as a sequential collaboration, in which sometimes operator will go inside, do some changes, and then it comes out. Then we have cooperation, and the most important is the responsive collaboration, which works with UR cobots very well. Now this is one standard which is designed by the ISO standard, what we call is as technical specification 15066, which states if anyone who is making a collaborative robot can have any one of the safety features, like you can have a safety rated monitored stop, you can have a hand guiding, you can have speed and separation mode, and power and force limiting. But in UR cobots, these 4 features are available by default. You can use it as and when required. Power and force limiting is inherent in the design in the collaborative robots from UR, meaning that if you put any external force, whether it's coming from an human operator or it's coming from some other devices, maybe conveyor, if it hits the conveyor, it sends the external force and it's dropped the current in the system and it stops. So without damaging the parts, without hurting the human operator, it's safe to operate without the cages. So there is a whole document on this. It's a 30-page document which you can download from the ISO website, and you can learn more about this technical specification. On the product line, we sell 2 different product lines. We have a CB3 and we have a E-Series family, what we launched in 2018. The CB3 has 3 different models. We have UR3, UR5, UR10. The numerical number signifies the payload capacity, meaning 3 kg, 5 kg, and 10 kg, and which has different reach for the operation. In the E series, we have 4 different models: 3E, 5E, 16E, and 10E. Now you will wonder that why we put 16E in between 5E and 10E because of the reach, because it's simple phenomena. If you reduce the arm length, you can lift a heavy product. So the arm reach for 16 is 900 mm, which is clearly designed to work for heavy duty applications, which was not possible before. Like if you have a box of 11 kilograms or 12 kilograms, you are unable to lift, but now with 16E, you can do that heavy machine tending or heavy pelletizing applications. Industry 1.0 to 5.0, what we saw in the earlier years, like we have mechanical, water and steam engines. Then we moved from those to mass production and assembly lines. Then we came to robotic automation computers. And now we are talking about industry 4.0, which is like put everything on a network and we can collect everything on a digitized basis. But what a company talks about is industry 5.0, where we are giving a human value creation. So meaning human and robots are working together. And next video, which is from BMW, it will clear the picture how the manufacturing is using collaborative robots on their assembly line. And yes, it's a tool with competitive advantages through manufacturing excellence. So here you can see it's industry 5.0, which is highly skilled people required and working with cobots side by side. So here is there are 4 cobots, 2 on each side, doing the gap inspection checking on a BMW car. And in between, you can see, as you can see, there are no fences. It's just a laser camera on the robot. It's a UR10. And that's why BMW costs more, because they do a lot of high-end inspections. And you can see it's a human operator coming in between, doing its own checking without worrying about the collaborative robot is working. You can increase the speed. It's running slow because it has to take the picture. And when it's done, the data is recorded on the MIS system. And once the car say all green signals, the next car will come. If it says anything red, then the same car will go to rework, and then again will be loaded for the inspection. You can see it's all green. So now it's go for the painting application. Next process. So this is how BMW is using for the gap inspection checking, and many other companies also are using for the same applications. Industries, what we take care is aerospace, automotive, food and agriculture, 3Es, which is electronics and technology, furniture equipment, metal machining, pharma, plastic and polymers, finishing jobs. So there is, now we talk about Indian case stories. We have bigger clients like Oro Lab. They are located in Madurai, which makes intraocular lenses. They installed the first collaborative robot in 2011. They saw it at one exhibition in India, and they deployed one cobot. Before the cobot, they were doing around 270 lenses per day, but today they are doing around 15,000 lenses per day. In 2011, they are supplying only to Aurobind Eye Care Hospital in India, but now they are supplying to 150 countries all over the globe. And they have brought down the cost of European lens from 3,000 to 270 rupees by using collaborative robots. So they reduce the cost, they enhance the quality of the lens, and then they started exporting to 150 countries, which is a very great example how collaborative robots are helping Indian manufacturers. And it's not, and this is not a profitable organization. It's a charitable, non-profitable organization, and they are using 11 collaborative robots, which are working 24/7, delivering 15,000 lenses per day. This is how they are maintaining the quality. And the girls who are working there, they are only 10th pass. They only work in Oro Lab just before they get married. They just come there for work for some time, and still they are able to run. They are able to program the system. It's so easy. You don't need, which shows that you don't need a high-level programmer to program it. The next image is from Bajaj Auto, which were the first mover of collaborative robots in India. We have a case story available on our website. It's also on YouTube. People can view that. They have around 120 cobots on different lines. They are doing machine tending. They are doing assembly applications. Third is one from Carl Zeiss. They are located in Bangalore, which are kind of doing the inspection applications. L'Oreal, they are doing end of line palletizing in Pune Chakan. Blue Star, they are doing the heat exchanger HVAC copper tube expansion application in Pune. And then colleges are also using. So college students are using collaborative robots so that they can move from one lab to another, and they can do ROS, they can do AI on it, so that they can learn the new technology. And when they came out of the college, they can join these companies, and they can join these companies with AI knowledge or maybe Python knowledge, which can help manufacturers in doing artificial intelligence jobs. On the SMEs front, we are enabling the Make in India dream. We have Shri Sai Makers, Markers and Engravers in Gurgaon. They are a very small company located in Gurgaon, which is supplying to an automotive company. We have SMEW. They make textile winding machines. Shruti Engineers, it's a 20 employee company, and they have a UR10, which is taking care of machine tending jobs. Then we have New Engineering in Jamshedpur, and Udyam Dal. They are making dal. They are the manufacturers of the agriculture business, and they are doing for. They have a pick and place robot for the packaging line. Next video is from New Engineering. Audio is not there. You can hear the audio of the video. No.
Not really.
Okay. So this video is from New Engineering Works. They deployed 6 collaborative robots for small part handling. They started this, I think, around 2017 when they installed the first robot. And here the owner is talking that he bought the this facility in 1996, and then he learned how to do the in and out of the production. And now they are the world-class manufacturers for Tata in Jamshedpur. And they do parts for commercial vehicles. And they have a lot of CNC machines, but he's talked that if you want to achieve automation, you have to see the reduced the cost per component so that they can run the line 24/7. And he decided to go with Universal Robots for its lower footprint, easy to program handling. And here the robot force works with their employees. As you can see, there are no fences around, and it's taken care of 2 machines side by side. And they're giving the inspection job of the product which is coming out of the machine. It's still handled by human operator, and they did not remove a single operator from the line when they install all the 6 cobots. The team is still there, the labor force is still there, but they upscale their labor performance, not by just loading, unloading, but they have given them inspection job, they have given them other value added things on the same shop floor. It's easy as you can use your smartphone for the operation. Maybe I move further. So he's saying that if we invest in the today in robots today, he's not removing the robot, but they are moving the labor force for doing some CMM or inspection jobs. He can educate them so that the owner can explore more business. This video is available also on the YouTube. If you want to hear the audio, you can listen to the video afterwards after the session. So he's saying that we have 1,000 SMEs, and he's requesting everyone to think of robots because they can help you with the production. They can improve your quality analysis. They can improve your production rates. If you are doing in 1 or 2s, it's fine to do labor, but if you're making products in lakhs, then you need automation. You need collaborative robots to take in care of your shop floors. The next one is from L'Oreal. which is using for end of line palletizing application. And here robot is handling the 8 kg or a 9 kg box for end of line palletizing application. The manager is saying it's the highest running line number 27. L'Oreal did the ergonomics risk analysis, and they found that it's a level 4 risk where the operator was lifting around 8,500 kilograms every day, and they identified that it's a level 4. So they implemented Cobot for doing the end of line palletizing application, which runs without the safety fence, and the Cobot can turn 2 pallets at a time. So they have saved around 30 minutes in the pallet changeover. So if you save 30 minutes, imagine the productivity increase what they got. And the system is running from past 2 years of time, 2-3 years, and they have 2 collaborative robots for similar kind of applications. And if their production needs changed, I think in 2018, the line which was running at a higher speed, the demands went low. So they removed the robot from that line and they moved the system to other line, and they programmed that line and started running the next line. So without calling UR or without calling the system integrator, they just move the robot, programmed it, and start doing that application. So it gives you flexibility on the same shop floor without investing another robot. So just change the tool. So today you're doing palletizing, you want to do inspection application, just mount the camera on the robot, it will do inspection. You want to do machine tending, mount a pneumatic gripper, it will start doing machine tending application. Now you can see they are removing the robot and they put it on a trolley. It weighs around 30 kilograms. So you can move from one place to another place. So this is how L'Oreal is using on their shop floors. What we also offer is the application builder, which is our online kind of a simulation tool where you can select which model you need for your application. You can select the robot model. You can select the tool type. You need a pneumatic gripper or an electrical gripper. You can decide the tool setup. It's a single gripper or a dual. The in-feed, the out-feed, and the interface. By default, we are giving you a digital input and output, which is 16 digital input and outputs available with Modbus interface, with Ethernet IP and Profinet as a default system. So you don't have to purchase all this. You just have, if you're using a Siemens PLC, then connect with Profinet. If you're using Aaron Bradley, then connect with Ethernet. If you want to extend your input output, then use a Modbus client or a Modbus server to extend your input and outputs. So if you go to the application builder page, once you fill all the, as I shown in the last slide, you can see the simulation running on the web page. And once you fill the form on the page, you will get the program, you will get the layout, you will get the packages, which will include the tips for interfacing. So it's like do-it-yourself concept. Now you don't. Then again, you don't need a UR. You don't need my integrator. Just buy the robot, connect the gripper because you know your product better, and then start doing the application. So this will significantly reduce the downtime. It will significantly reduce the ROI factor, and you can implement more and more collaborative robots on your shop floor. Academy. This is again, it's free of cost from our website. You can create a login on the Academy, and you can, within 2 or 3 hours of time, you can learn basics of collaborative robots. There are 9 different modules available to learn about collaborative robots. And if you need more knowledge, then we also do in-class training for 2 or 3 days, where you can learn the high-level programming on the collaborative robots, which will help you in deploying the cobots on the shop floor. So fill your automation gaps. What all applications you can tend using UR cobots? You can do packaging and palletizing. You can do glue dispensing. You can do injection molding. We are giving Euromap 67, which is a European standard for plastic industry machineries. It's a separate module which you can buy as an optional. If your injection molding machine has a Euromap 67 interface, just connect that module and you are up and go. It's just a plug and play device. You can do assembly jobs like screw driving. You can do quality inspection, machine tending applications. So many applications just using a one single arm. Just by changing the tool, you can tend so many applications on your shop floors. Now, how the cobots role in the COVID-19 era? First is the social distancing. Cobot enable humans and robots to work together on the shop floor and also on the assembly lines. And this facilitates the social distancing on the shop floor to keep employees safe and productivity high. The image is from Bajaj. The next is quick deployment or flexible redeployment. Within half a day, you can move a cobot from one place to another place and start doing your production. So if you have a manufacturing facility which is doing high mix, low volume, then I think collaborative robots is the best suitable product currently in the market, which can help you maintaining the demands of the customer and maintaining your productivity and output. Partial automation, what we believe is do a partial automation, because 100% automation is always costly. Because if you bring in, say, I want a dispensing station, I want a sealing taping machine, I want shrink wrapping. If you bring all this, then your project cost will go high and your ROI will never come. So partial automation always help. Give 80% task on the cobot and 20% on the robot, on the human operator, which will add a value add to the process. And then we have democratized the automation by lowering the barrier of automation. Cobots can be easily deployed to by any large or small or medium manufacturers alike. Thank you. If you have any questions, attendees can ask, or maybe the other panelists can ask me.
Yeah. So, Mr. Karandeep, it was a really informative session, good presentation. I think all the attendees must have got a good insight of this topic. So basically, there are 5 important things. If someone, if he wants to go for the cobot, so
Yeah.
there is basically a very fast setup. Then it's very easy to program.
Yes.
It's quite collaborative. It's also very safe. Even the human aspect is inbuilt in this, so it's
Yeah.
very safe. Its deployment is very flexible. That is another important area we could get it. And the payback, of course, what you have just touched upon is a very cost efficient, very cost effective solution.
Yes. Yes.
So I think we have got a few questions which we will try to address.
Yeah.
The first question which has come from the participant is that cobot is reduced to manpower dependency and to get speedy and consistent output.
Yes.
At what cost in influencing demands? So could you get this here?
Okay. So so here we see as an example of flexible automation comes in picture, where the same cobot can be used in multiple applications, meeting the demands fluctuations. Like if you're doing a high mix, low scenario, then cobots can help you with meeting that demands, and which can match the speedy and the consistent output.
Yeah.
So a flexible redeployment feature can help them in meeting the, it can reduce the man dependency also, but it can also take in care of the or maybe the demand fluctuations.
One more question has come. It is
Yeah.
more specific. It is applicability in the gearbox manufacturing.
Yes. Yeah. So
So-
there are many applications which can be considered as for the gearbox manufacturing, such as assembly, inspection, or maybe machine tending applications. If the attendee has a very specific requirements, then they can share the application details with us, and definitely we would be happy to help them with taking care of the application by using collaborative robots.
Yeah, so attendees, I request that you can approach directly and we will try to provide a solution for this gearbox also. Another
Yeah.
question which has come is for the multiple machines with a different product can be served with a single robot. Is it possible?
Yes, if the reach and the payload support the application, then you can 10 different machines. And it also depends on the cycle time. If the cycle time Cobot can match the cycle time, then you can 10 different machines, because in terms of the rotation, in terms of the flexibility, all the joints are plus minus 360 degrees. So you can mount 4 machines or 5 machines around the workspace of the Cobot, and it can easily tend all the machines together with different products. It's possible.
Yeah. One attendee is asking that how would this collaborating robots compare to IR when it comes
Ah,
to life when performing machines tending activities?
it's AI maybe.
Yeah. So performing machines tending activities. So can you just
So if it is particular to machine tending, then we have many examples on where
yeah.
I think 60% applications are related to machine tending, which is always easy to do. And where Cobot has to lift a part, load inside the machine, and then it's a machine process which comes out, and robot will keeps it out. So yes, Cobots are possibly, not possibly, but they are definitely be used for the machine tending applications very well in the scenarios.
Yeah. One more question. I think you already addressed that. How to use
Yeah.
cobots? Different
Yes.
industries.
How to use Cobots? First way is you can attend the academy. Second, if you already have a collaborative robot, or if you're planning to have a collaborative robot, then you can attend the inline class. For now, we are doing a virtual classes, as we are not going to office because of the COVID-19 situation. So we're doing virtual classes, and you can attend 2-day class with all your team members, and you can learn about collaborative robots.
Yeah. One more question. If any other panelist, maybe Saket, I think he has joined. If you want to address, how will the AI impact the industry and drive future cobot innovation? Would you like to take this question, Saket? Can you hear?
Yes, Suhas, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, so basically the artificial intelligence is the latest trend which is now very popular in the industry now. And with the integration of AI with the robot, a lot of functionality can be enhanced and upgraded, and multiple applications can be integrated with that. For example, like inspection system, where these cobots can be used very well, and with the use of AI, artificial intelligence, and machine learning, a lot of functions can be handled through these enhanced tools with the cobots. And cobots are too flexible for that. Even these cobots, as Karandeep would have already told, that this can be mounted on the AGVs also, and this can also do the assembly on the floor. That is one of the application which is going to be very popular in future.
Yeah. So in continuation with this, another question, I think it is also related to same, that India with rich manpower resources, however, with a low skill, investor always for the economical investment. So how did a robot?
See, with this robot, see, the payback is very fast. So if you see the cost of the manpower, even you're looking for a one machine tending application, and you're paying one person per shift. You have 3% per shift, and you calculate the cost, and then you see the ROI. It will be definitely very less, as Karandeep also can add very well into that. If on an average, if you are paying an operator 10,000 rupees per month, you have 3 operators, so you are paying 30,000 per month. So in a year, you are paying almost 3.6 lakhs per more than that. It depends on which area your factory is situated in. And compared to that, within 3 to 4 years, your ROI will be achieved. Plus, your productivity is always enhanced because the robot won't stop. They are fatigueless, so they can continuously work 24/7 in any situation. So these operators even can be trained to operate these robots. Always they can be given some other functions where they can be value adding to the other areas rather than working on this machine where the robots are working.
I would like to add on the Saket comment that if anyone is calculating the ROI factor, there are two major points. You see the tangible benefits, and you see the non-tangible benefits. The tangible benefits is like it's a direct cost, which is it's salary.
Karan, could you unmute yourself?
Okay.
Just have to go back a minute back and just restart.
Okay, I would like to add on the Saket comment that if any of the end customer is calculating the ROI, then there are two factors. There is um, tangible factor and the non-tangible factor. Tangible is like it's the direct salary which what you are giving to the labor. But for example, if he goes on a leave, okay, then who will tend the machine? Okay, then your output is not coming. You need something so that your machine will run 24/7. Okay, in India we have so many festivals and people go before Diwali, people go don't come after Diwalis and all these major festivals. And how you will tend the machine? So you need a very flexible system which can be moved from one place to another place to tend your output. Also, it's like you are paying them bonus, you are paying them insurance cost, you have the transportation for the labor. If you calculate all those things, your ROI factor will come down if you calculate on a yearly basis. So that's why we have seen in India that within one maximum 2 years, what the clients who are using UR cobots, they are getting the ROI in these kind of within 1 or 2 years of time.
This was, if you see the latest condition of the COVID era, a lot of workers have went home, and then there were a lot of businesses were badly affected. If they would have been these cobots with them or universal cobots with them, they would have definitely benefited for their production volumes.
Yeah. So currently,
yes, sir.
The question which has been addressed earlier, so the participant has one more, basically he would like to have more clarity that will the collaborative robot have any maintenance issue over a time when it comes to an IR and specifically when doing the machine tending activities? So he want to know more about from the maintenance angle.
Okay. See, as I told during the presentation that you don't need to grease up the system. Okay, you don't need a battery replacement on the collaborative robot because the grease is already filled inside the gear, and till the time the gear is working, it's in healthy condition. You don't need any maintenance. That's why we do sell, as I told, we do sell the extended warranty, so you can have it's kind of a extension of the product for 4 years, and if any of the joints fail, then just replace that particular joint. You don't have to replace the complete robot. You can just replace the one single joint and robot will start doing the application again. But we, as I told, our majority of applications are only on machine tending, and we haven't seen much maintenance issue when considering one type of applications as compared to industrial robots.
Okay. So next question actually is maybe it is a long answer, but I think we can make it very short. It is one of the attendees want to know the comparison of throughput of robots versus cobot. It's definitely there are plenty of things. So you want to understand.
So the question is, how do you compare the throughput of robot versus cobot? Does this limit on to loading, unloading? Robot can work with man supervision. How does cobot efficient? Okay. See, throughput can be same. Okay. I don't think that by using a cobot you are decreasing the throughput. Okay. Suppose if you have a lunch break or something, then you can put the parts for the cobot. It will keep on working for the time. Okay, there is no lunch break for collaborative robots or even for the industrial robots. So in terms of throughput, it's same. But yes, there are limits related to the loading, unloading, limits on the payload capacity. Now, if you want to lift anything like 25 kilograms or 30 kilograms, yes, today you can't lift with a collaborative robot. Only one significant reason is if I make a collaborative robot heavier, meaning if I increase the payload, the mass of the system is also increasing. And if I increase the mass, then I lose the feature of flexible redeployment. Then I lose the feature of easy programming. Okay, so that's why we are limiting the payload to 16 kilograms, keeping the same mass of 30 kgs. So,
Okay.
and yes, we are assisting human operator uh, along with the it's like they are both working together. In terms of industrial robot, they can't work together. You need fencing, you need guarding around it. So human operator is not 100% actively working with the system with an industrial robot. But in terms of collaborative robots, they are 100% working without the stoppage of the line. Definitely the efficiency, definitely the throughput will go high.
Yeah.
I think, Karandeep, we can, if we say that in a very simple way, that if you compare the payload, the robot
Sorry, voice is breaking.
So currently, there are another couple of questions has come. So,
Yeah.
but I think your address SME applications. You have shown a lot of applications and some of the
Yes.
videos. And now SMEs is also thinking to go for the cobots and
Mhm.
so specific application. If somebody wants to know, they can
Yes.
write to you. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Any
I think there is one attendee who wants to unmute and ask a question. If you can
yeah,
allow him to, uh, Mr.
yeah.
Batista, yeah, Mr. Baptista is there. Who is, if he can unmute, then he can ask the question live.
Yeah.
Karandeep.
Thank you.
My
Tell me, sir.
question to you was regarding the protective stops. Now we are having a collaborative robot UR10 with
Okay.
us. And one of our complaint what we received was that if the cobot goes under multiple protective stops,
Hmm?
joints can get damaged. So I want to know how true this statement stands.
Okay. So see, the protective stop, it doesn't mean that uh, um, that your system is safe. Okay. Protective stop is, if it is coming, say, uh, once a month, it's fine. Okay. But if
Okay.
it's coming, say, within 24 hours, 100 times, then definitely something is wrong with the application. Okay.
Okay. Okay. So it's
So,
not good for the
and
cobot health.
yes, of course. So, for example, if you do your car braking, say 100 times at a speed of 60 kilometer per hour,
Mhm.
okay, if you do a sudden brake, definitely your car brake shoe will uh, uh, rub off, and your car braking system will fail faster. Okay,
Yes.
but it's the same concept with industrial robot. It's same concept with collaborative robots.
Yes, I
Okay,
understood. Well,
protective stop is not, it is there to protect the system. Okay, it's not that, okay, it's protective stop is coming, it's not fine. Okay, that's why we have an article on our website. You can refer that article. You will get
okay.
more clarity on why protective stop is important in terms of working condition of the collaborative robot.
Yeah.
And if you have any specific why it is coming, I think you can share your application details to me on my email ID or to my distributor. We can help you offline with these issues.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
As the robot is working very well,
Yeah.
it's serving our application, and
Okay.
we are looking forward to having one cobot and 4 CNC machines on the 7th axis.
Good, sir.
So it's
Good to
another
hear
project.
that.
Yeah.
Good
So
to hear that.
another question one of the attendees have asked you, so I am replying to that. So we are going in for that with one 7th axis additional and
Yeah.
one cobot.
Okay. Good. Yeah, you can have, if you have multiple machines, then you can have a horizontal 7th axis, which can be controlled through PLC, and robot can tend that also. It's easy to do.
I would like your email ID. Can someone drop your email ID or something like I can
Yeah.
contact
Okay.
you directly?
We will share
I'll,
with.
yeah. So the team will share you with the email ID.
Thank you
Yeah.
very much, Mr. Karan.
Thank you. Thank you.
We will take last two questions now.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So one is about it's basically application related for the woodworking industry. Any application for the cobot we would like to know. One.
Okay. So generally people use for finishing application. For example, there is one example where uh, the customer is using collaborative robot for polishing the speakers. Okay, with lacquer and paste. so that they can get a great finish of the product. So polishing or finishing application you can do. With E-Series, we are giving the internal FT sensor available on the system itself. You don't have to buy the FT sensor, which is 4-stroke sensor. Just mount your sanding tool on the robot and use the force of the robot to do the application. So yes, you can use collaborative robot for furniture applications.
Yeah, good. And one more last question. It is the one gentleman is asking is, what are the trade-offs of implementing cobots in India?
It depends on many factors. It's not one single factor. It depends on the trade-off. Maybe it's like, if you can explain more what kind of trade-off he's talking, then I can explain. Because there are many factors to it. It's not only one.
Many factors, and
Yeah.
post-COVID there are a lot of challenges people has to overcome on that.
Yes,
So,
yes.
yeah. So I request a concerned participant to have a direct dialogue with Mr. Karandeep.
Yeah,
for
yeah. So you can share our marketing email address
Yeah.
to the participants, and if they have any queries after the session, they just ping us, and we'll be happy to help them.
Yeah, I suggest.
Thank you very much, all the attendees, for sparing again a valuable time and understanding the applications of cobots. And Karandeep has given a fantastic overview of the application in the manufacturing process. So we thank all of the panelists and our esteemed attendees who made this event a great success. Thank you very much. So I here declare the end of this event. Thank you very much for all of you.
Thank you all for the participation.
Thank you.